back or hosting or anything like that, but probably will. Thanks to Gareth for the introduction. I'm going to take you through General Register Office, who we are, what we do, what records we have. We have a small case history that can show you the birth searches and how that can lead you on to other information contained in the records to assist you with carrying out family research, and a bit of information about our forthcoming developments for the online provision of historical records. I'm going to keep that to the end. I know that's something that you're all really interested in, so make you stay here. You're not getting that until the end. Okay? General Register Office. What we do. We provide a civil registration system for the citizens of Northern Ireland, and that's for births, deaths, marriages, adoptions, civil partnerships. All of this is covered by the relevant legislation. And legislation was fairly static up until basically I joined GRO 8 years ago, and then things went crazy. We had births, deaths and marriages, and then along came civil partnerships. After that came gender recognition, where we can re-register the birth for someone who's had a gender recognition certificate. Then we had births to same-sex female parents through the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Act. And then the most recent one is the Register of Presumed Deaths, which has come through the Presumption of Death Registration Act. So registration doesn't stay still, it changes, and it changes constantly to meet the needs of the citizen. Most registration is carried out through the district registration offices. Everybody knows them, there's one in every town. There's 26 of them at the moment. Under the review of public administration, they will be reduced to 11. It is still planned that there will be 26 offices, but 11 of those will be main registration offices and the other ones will be sub-offices. The adoptions and other registrations are carried out by the General Register Office in the General Register Office itself. One of the main publications that we have is the Registrar General's Annual Report. Each year, the statisticians and colleagues of ours in NISRA, in Demography Branch, examine all the registrations that have taken place in the year before. They publish a report which is used. Registration statistics are used for health, education, town planning, all those types of things. It's important to know the trends for births and deaths. It's also used, for example, death examination. One of the reports that they do is they can break down the causes of death. They can break it down by district council, so you'll see some things published even in the newspapers. Deaths by cancer in particular areas, what part of Northern Ireland it's best to live in if you want to reach a ripe old age. It's Northern Ireland. So it's used for things like that. The most popular report that is used from births is the list of baby names. It comes out every December telling you the most popular baby names. So that's some of the uses that the information is used for. Registration began very badly in 1538. Thomas Cromwell announced that he wanted to have all events that were carried out by the established church in England and Wales registered, and issued very strict instructions on how it was to be done and penalties if it wasn't done. It still wasn't done. There was very, very little actual public registration until 1836, when registration was introduced in England and Wales. This was extended to Ireland in 1845, but was only for marriages in what they call the established churches. It didn't happen for Roman Catholic marriages in 1845. I don't know if that was me. I sincerely hope not. I'll stand further back. All registrations, births, deaths and marriages for all life events, including Roman Catholic marriages, started in 1864. So this year, it is exactly 150 years since all registration started in Ireland. So in registration, we've done a little bit of digging here and we found this information. The instructions to the Registrar General at the time was that he was to furnish the registration districts with strong iron boxes to hold the register books. Each box had to have a lock and 2 keys, one for the registrar and one for the superintendent registrar. So even in 1864, they were very concerned about the security of the records. We still are. They also had to have a waterproof bag. You didn't want the records getting ruined. And they had to use special registrar's ink. And here's an advert we got from PRONI, thanks PRONI, for Morrell's registration ink. And the instructions were that the jar was not to be left uncorked and the ink was not to be diluted. Did anybody see the programme on UTV last night? Did you see the registrar actually still in England and Wales use registrar's ink? It actually showed you one of the opening shots with the bottle of registrar's ink and he was topping up his little ink well with it. We don't use it anymore. We're all computerized. We have had a modernisation programme in GRO that's been going on now for quite a number of years. Up until 1973, every birth that was registered handwritten in a register, and there were 5 entries to a page. 1973, when the new district council arrangements came in, it was decided at that time to stop using the registers and to use an A4 sheet for each person. I'll show you later on an interesting thing that actually happened in 1973. It's okay, I'll stand for it. Deaths were registered in a book where there were... Can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Deaths used to be registered in a book and there would be 3 deaths registered per page, and marriages it was 2 per page. Now everybody has a unique one just for themselves. You don't have to share with anybody else. So what we've done is we have developed a computer system which is provided to all the district councils and is linked into us in the General Register Office centrally to ensure that all the registrations are carried out correctly. We have an online ordering facility which was upgraded in October of last year. And again, I'm going to just ask for a show of hands. Has anybody used our online ordering facility? Have you used it since we put the new one in? It's much better. The one that we had was very, very poor. We had to get it updated, and when you order online now, it is a much easier process. And that is actually phase 1 of what we call our GRONI project, which is the first part of bringing the records online for everyone. First part was the online ordering facility in October. We have a telephone ordering facility. Again, you can telephone in, pay that debit card over the phone, and your certificate is posted out to you within 4 or 5 working days. So we're fairly quick. We produce over 60,000 certificates per year. At our peak, we were doing very nearly 100,000 certificates per year. And it would have been 2003, 2004, when the passport office and the driving licence authorities were insisting on full birth certificates whenever you were renewing your passport or your driving licence. That led to a huge increase in the number, but it's steady now, about 60,000 certificates per year. We also provide a public search room in Oxford House. And again, I know some of you have been there. Hopefully you find it better now than it was in the past, when we could only take 5 people in a little cramped room and the computers didn't work. Whereas at least now they do. And it's a much better facility, but it's about to get even better. In GRO we have 8.6 million records, scanned images with a searchable index. That was a major project, took 3 years to complete. As I said to you earlier, all the images were handwritten. They had to be scanned, examined and indexed, so that you can use the indexes to search and find the record that you want. As I said earlier, we've got births since 1864, deaths since 1864, the marriages, non-Roman Catholics since 1845, and everything since 1864. And you can also search the adoption indexes, and adoption legislation came in 1931. We're going to do a wee case study that will show you how you can use our system to search it. So we picked a date, 22nd of November 1963. 3 very, very famous people died. John F. Kennedy, Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis wrote in our net books. He was born in Belfast. The other 2 weren't. You can find his birth entry by searching the computer system in GRO. The information on the birth entry will also help us then to find out other details about his family. So this is where you can one event that you know of, and it will take you to so many other branches of the family, and that's very, very important for anybody carrying out family history research. So we'll just do a search. We're just going to do a basic search here, and we're not even going to put in everybody knows that CS stands for Clive Staples, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. For the purpose of this, we don't know that. We can put in a search for everybody called Lewis, who was born in 1898, and we've narrowed it down. We don't want everybody in Northern Ireland. We know he was born in Belfast, so we can put in a district. And that brings you up everybody's called Lewis, born in Belfast. That's what's called an index search result. The more information you put in, for example, if we put in C. Lewis, you would only have had 1 return. If you put in T. Lewis, you would have had Thomas, James and Thomas. You would have had 3 results. And then you can see which one is the one that suits your needs. This is the handwritten registration that I was telling you about earlier. As was done, he was born in 1898, but his birth wasn't registered until 1899. He was born in November, and the birth was registered on January the 9th, 1999. And you can see from this, you now have his parents' details, his mother's name, his father's name, and his father's occupation. So that's much more information than you had on him before. And also where they were from, Strandtown, East Belfast. So using this information, we're going to look for the marriage of his parents. So we're going to go back a few years before he was born, and the marriage information, we know that the father was called Albert, so we're going to do a marriage search, and we find 2 marriages for people called Albert Lewis. One in 1894, one in 1895. But we know that the marriage was between Albert and Florence, so we know it's the first one. We also know that it was likely to have taken place in Belfast, because people didn't move around those days as much as they do now. So we'll have a look at Albert, James, Lewis, Maureen, Florence, Augusta, Hamilton. And again, the handwritten registration. So you've got his parents' names. You've got the parents' names for both the bride and the groom. So suddenly you have C.S. Lewis's mother, father, where they lived, when they got married, and his grandparents' names. So from one piece of information, C.S. Lewis born on a certain date in 1898, you've now got right back to his grandparents. And you can see further information. You can see that his paternal grandfather was an engineer, and his maternal grandfather was a clerk in Holy Orders. So you've got much more information to base your family tree on. Unfortunately, his mother died when he was quite young. Again, this is a matter of public record, we know this, so we're going to use this as an example of searching for a death. Very, very similar to searching for a birth. You put in the details that you have, and if you have a date, you can put it in. If you haven't, you can do a search for a number of years. The search results screen is going to come up now, has 2 entries on it. You'll be able to see immediately that one of them is not the one that you're looking for, because we have 2 Florence Lewises who died in that 10-year period that we searched for. One of them was only 7. So we know it's not her. So and plus She was registered with the full name of Florence Augusta. So again, we know that that's the one that we want. Again, you could get a number of searches there depending on the name that you're putting in. So that's what I said to you. It's important that you put in as much information as you have in the search criteria, because that will narrow down the search results. You don't want to put in John Smith, Belfast, 1900 to 1910. Please, you don't want to do that. Your system will crash. No, it'll tell you that there's more than 100 entries. Simple as that. And again, because we've got the index is linked to the image. Here's the death registration as was carried out at the time. So we can see Florence Augusta Lewis was married. She was a wife of a solicitor, and again we know from the marriage record, and we know from C.S. Lewis's birth record that his father was a solicitor. So again, that really confirms the information that you're looking for. And we know that she died on the 23rd of August 1908. Okay, so that's an example, as I said, of taking one